Okay, I'm Roland Rice. I've lived here all except about 3 years. I was in the Army, and then I went to the Philippines for a while.
And how old are you?
83.
83 years old, yes, sir. And
Jim Gierhart. I'm from this country.
Are you?
Yeah, right here at Cliff, New Mexico, Buckhorn. Been here 30 years.
30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth Brown, born and raised right here on a farm and a ranch. Been here 72 years.
72 years. My goodness. How did your family end up here?
Well, I guess mine, part of them come from Illinois, part of them come from Texas.
And just settled here?
Yeah, my grandfather, I'm kin to the Shilleys. My grandmother was a Shelley, and they come here in 84. I think it was, they got here in 1884.
Wow. Mr. Gierhart?
Yeah, don't call me Mr. Gierhart. I won't answer.
Okay.
Just Jim. Well, I've been in the Southwest forever. I worked in Arizona. I drug my wife from the Canadian border to the Mexican line. Finally, we ended up down here in this country. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. My old folks come out of Brady, Texas in 1913, come here in wagons.
Wow.
Went to work for the LCs. And I grew up here and learned something from them, I think. And been married 54 years. And I got to get a new wife.
Yeah. Remember, he's going to sell her kitchen?
I'm going to sell her kitchen.
You don't ever use it, you said.
Nobody will buy it, Jim.
I know.
That's one thing. That's like cows right now. You can't sell them.
Oh, yeah. Can't sell a kitchen. Can't sell a dry cow.
Try to get rid of that wind noise.
We ship some good son of a guns, man. Good cows. It just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
So, what y'all all cowboyed here? I mean, you worked on the ranches and
that's all Roland ever knew. Yeah.
That's all I know is cows and dogs.
Yeah. Just cowboyed all over the Southwest, and yeah, heck yeah, that's all we know.
That's all you know.
Yeah. I asked a guy the other day, old Tim Haas, I said, you got any grass you'd want to lease? He goes, what are you talking? You don't want to lease grass. He said, I'm trying to figure out how to make some money without cows. I said, well, that's all I know. That's all I know. Cows and horses, that's all I know. And it's not lucrative.
How did you get into hounds?
Well, my dad got his first hound from the Lee boys. They were hunters up around Luna, and they've hunted everywhere. They were pretty famous hunters. They went to Mexico. I don't know where all they've hunted, but they've hunted those spotted cats down in Mexico, and they were good hunters and had good dogs. One of the boys was killed in a hunting accident. I don't know which one it was. There was three of those boys to start with.
Yeah, Dale and Clell.
Yeah, and then there was one more. Now, I don't know his name.
Was it? Who was
Vincent?
it? Yeah. Was he the one that got shot?
I think so.
And then who booked all the hunts in Tucson? Well, there might have been another brother. I can't remember.
I can't either.
No.
There was. I have those CDs that Dale made, telling those stories.
Oh yeah.
And there was another brother, I think, that was kind of the businessman, wasn't he?
In Tucson. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get dogs or get hounds kind of out of self-defense up here, didn't you?
Yeah. That was a female that he got from her, and he kept her pups, and he had quite a few of those dogs, and then Terrell Shelley had good dogs, and I had dogs. Well, nearly all the ranchers around here had dogs at one time. The Hoogers had them. Henry's had them, or Jim Henry had them. I don't think John and Will ever had dogs. Just raised our own mostly.
Traded back and forth with each other?
Oh, yeah, we'd get dogs. There was another hunter in here that was a good hunter. Ray Freeman was a good line hunter. He gave out a dog once, and that's the deer runningest dog I ever seen in my life. I was on one side of Buggy on Creek, and Dad was on the other side. He hollered at me and said, "If that dog comes by, you kill him." Well, he come by me, but he didn't. Wasn't close enough I could kill him. And went on that evening, and there was an older or another hound with him, and when I caught up with them, they were both trailing a line, so we kept him a while longer, and I had that dog when Kenny and I and Pernell Clark, they found a calf dead over here on Schoolhouse Mountain at the line that just killed. And that was well, I had two dogs that would do that. One of them was a female that I raised pups out of, and the other one was this dog. And that dog would trail off from a kill, and they'd go, if it didn't suit him, he'd go back and trail some other way. And that he finally got that line lined out to where we could trail it. It was quite a while there before we ever got started. And when we got started, well, the track went pretty good.
Good thing you didn't shoot him.
I think he finally died up there.
Oh, heck.
You remember I cut a foot off that line, front foot?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And I gave it to Roy Clark, and I bet it's still in that store hanging on one of them deer heads.
Bet so, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That was funny. We rode through a gate up there, and old Verdale rode by me and jerked, had a gun on the saddle, and it broke the hip out. And those dogs would jump off in there. And then I've always wanted to go back there, Kitty. I never did go back up there, but that was quite a hole back in there. When I jumped off in there, that old line would run at them dogs, and they'd jump out, and then they'd jump back in. And I tried to get Kitty to kill it. Heck, I didn't want to kill a lion.
I didn't have license. Yeah.
I don't know whether I did or not.
Well, was it a calf kill? You had to do it. Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
And then most of the hunting I done was up here in these mountains behind us here. Minton, Rain Creek, West Fork of Buggy Old, some on Chili Peak.
Pretty rough country.
Oh, it's rough enough. Only horse that really pitched with me was Lord Shelley, and I was coming off of Chili Peak. And there was bluffs, and it just brushes it could be. And this old horse that I was riding, he was good in the mountains. But one time my brother-in-law was riding him, and he stick flip hit him in the belly, and he just humped up. He jumped off, and after that, when something hit that horse in the belly, now you was going for a ride. Old Lawrence was riding a great big mule, and when he saw me coming, he said, "I'd have tried to stop you, but I know if you hit us, we was all going down."
You can, if you want to, you can take that mic and bend it down so it's out of your eyeballs and closer to your mouth. It's real flexible. It'll bend.
Okay. And
So
that's sort of the way. And then Dad and his brother, according to the Enterprise, killed the last grizzly bear that was killed here in New Mexico. If there was any more killed, they didn't broadcast it. But
Was that in the 30s, Roland?
31.
31?
31 or 32 right in there.
Oh, okay.
And they'd started up Rain Creek, and the old bear had killed a cow there and went a little ways further and killed another one. And then he went out toward West Fork of Mogollon, and then the dogs taken him and come back off. Well, Daddy and Carl got up on a bluff or above him, and there's just brush as it could be. And when they had that bear bayed there, and that's where they killed him, was right there. Have you been up Rain Creek, Kitty?
Mm-hmm.
You know up there where those peach trees that your grandpa planted are?
No.
Well, it's just below there a little ways that they killed him.
And that, you believe that was one of the last grizzly bears?
That was, they said, the last grizzly in New Mexico. And that's about all. I can tell another story. It's sort of funny. You all will get a kick out of it. Billy Lady and I went hunting. I'd run a line the day before. And the next day, well, I struck it up there for the haystack. That was on the west side of Rain Creek. And it crossed Sackatone Creek, Little Dry Creek. And we got in some bluffs on Big Dry just at dark. Well, I'd worked for Jim Henry, and I knew where there was trail. I told him, I said, well, let's go down this trail. Or if I can find that trail, I can get off into the creek, and then it's pretty good sailing down to his house, and I'll borrow his truck, and we'll go home. We got down there and knocked on the door, and his wife finally come to the door, and she says, all right, boys, where'd you turn it over at? And got home, I was 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I walked in. I told Lenore, I says, you want to hear a lion story? She says, no, nor a liar story either.
I'll be dang.
Then there was another lion, and it was the only lion. Dad had 2 dogs at that time, and one of them he got from Jack Thompson, and the other one was one that come out of those of the Lee boys. And we hit that track, and we went in behind the haystack. There was a good place, and it kept getting higher and higher, and it went to the head of to those mountains in the head of Minton, and we went plumb to the top. We could listen off into Rain Creek. We could listen off into Sackatone Creek, and couldn't hear our dogs nowhere. And it got pretty late. We started out, and we could hear the dogs way below us and to the east of us. And all of a sudden, they shut up. I mean, just quit. Well, that night, the dog that he'd got from Jack Thompson was another good hunter, and he'd hunted with for the state game and fish, and he was about as good of a hunter as Ben Lilly, but he wasn't near as famous, but hadn't hunted in nearly all the country he had. And as far as I'm concerned, Ben Lilly knew more about lions than any kind that ever lived, as far as I know. Anyway, that one dog come in, and he was all chewed up pretty bad. And so I told Daddy, I said, well, we know about where they were when we last heard them. We was long ways from them, and it was dark. And we got his dogs the next morning and started back, and we was going up the ridge, and there laid the lion and the dog laying right together. And the dog was alive, and the lion was dead. And the old lion had a claw on that dog's shoulder, and every time he'd start to get up, well, he was sore and couldn't get up.
Oh, wow.
And that was the only lion that I ever run that far that didn't tree. There, now I got it.
There you go. Yeah. Now I can hear you better, too.
Good. Now then.
Well, what about, you mentioned Ben Lilly. I mean, this was his stomping grounds. I imagine y'all have heard all kinds of stories about him. Probably true stories compared to what's written in the books.
Well, there's a book by him, the Ben Lilly Legend, and I've read that book, and it was Dad hunted with him one or 2 days, I don't know. Ben Lilly always walked. The only time he had 2 brews and he moved his camp on. And he done most of his hunting, I think, over around the GOSs, over on the members and in that country. Yeah, but he was well liked.
And just double tough, wasn't he?
Sir?
He was real tough, wasn't he?
Well, they say he could really walk.
Yeah.
But your dad hunted with him? No kidding, Roland?
Yeah. Yeah, just...
That's pretty cool.
In fact, I think they had a jug of milk. Mom would give him a jug of milk, and it was in the snow, and I think he had snow ice cream. But I don't think they caught anything. Dad never say anything about him catching anything with them.
Well, they used to give Ben a bounty, didn't they, when he at the local ranches?
Yeah, the ranchers paid him, and I guess it's supposed to pay on whoever he caught the line on, whoever permit or land it was on. And was about what he did. And then there was one line, and Dad finally caught her while I was in the Army, but we run, and she stayed right in that country, and she trained several sets of dogs.
Well, you just couldn't get her stopped?
Huh?
Couldn't get her stopped? Couldn't get her treed?
Oh, she'd get away from the dogs. She'd either trail them. At times we could tell whether she had made a circle and crossed her tracks and then jumped a long ways.
She knew all the tricks.
Yeah, and he finally caught her on the other side of Muggy Old Creek and had her on a bluff, a real high bluff, and the dogs had her bait out the edge of that bluff, and he finally killed her. And
I remember Terrell telling a story about a female that they ran all over the place, and finally they seen her. The dogs weren't even on her, and they seen her across the canyon, and they ended up killing her that way.
Oh, I'll be darned.
But yeah, those. What did you have to go through a lot of dogs to get any good ones, or did you just make do with what you had?
Well, we usually made do with what we had, but we had some that was fairly good and some that weren't worth killing.
Did you ever get to hunt with the Lee brothers at all, or with Dale?
No, I never did. Terrell did. He went and hunted with Clell and some, I think.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to ask them how they, with their dogs, were.
Well, I was thinking of a funny. Johnny Kane was my wife's cousin. He was a lion and bear man for Colorado, and there's some of them pups. They don't make the cut, you know. And we was talking about it, and I said, "You feed one of them boogers for 2 years, and he never does turn out." And he goes, "Yeah, and he's the same one that dumped his water bucket over every night." So it's kind of the truth, ain't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And your dogs, what?
Well, the first 2 dogs I ever had come from a guy by the name of Lane Jones, and he had got them from the Lee brothers, and they were just yearlings. And one of them done all right, and the other one just, I don't know.
Dumped his water bucket over every day?
I guess, but I didn't know nothing about hounds.
Yeah.
I had him where you couldn't catch him at night when we coon hunted, and he caught hundreds of coons, but he wouldn't come home. He'd come home after we went home sometime during the night.
It's different.
So did you start with hounds because you hunted with someone else, or how did you get started?
like I was talking earlier, that old collie and shepherd cross dog.
Oh, okay.
Catching all this stuff, and skunks and cats and squirrels. And I mean, it's just a heyday as a kid growing up.
Right.
And when I was 13, he caught a line. I'll never forget that. Daddy had a short 30-30 with us, was packing salt. And he killed it. Well, that dog's worth $1 million.
Yeah.
And it was a collie cross?
Yeah, with a shepherd. And Ellsworth Tipton raised him. You know Ellsworth.
Yeah, I knew Ellsworth.
He'd raised him up there at Glenwood.
And then you thought if you got hounds that...
Oh, if you had a hound, you're going to catch it all. No doubt.
How did that work out for you?
Well, that first one I telling you I went to the ranch and I turned him out, thought he could trot up the road, you know. He got after a cow and was gone. Finally got a hold of him. What a real experience.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But my folks, none of them had hounds. Well, my granddad had one. And he liked to go deer hunting and kill a spike. That's all he'd shoot. He'd take that old hound. And he said, that old hound will move them deer around. Pretty funny.
I bet.
I don't know, you might remember him, that big old white spotted black hound.
Yeah.
About that tall.
Yeah.
I think Alvin used to go up there and camp on the Sagatone, take him and see if he'd catch a bear or something.
So how long did y'all hunt without telemetry? When did you start being able to track your dogs?
When I was about 20 or 22.
Was that just like a...
Yeah, me and my cousin, Crumley, Bud Crumley. He had one hound, and I had one. They was both named Speck. And we went hunting in the Burro Mountains, and he had hunted with Noah O'Mary and Marion Crumley. And Noah let him take 3 dogs. They were good dogs. And over there in Middle Bear, those dogs hit a track, and we followed them. We didn't know what to do. Follow them. And they jumped the line, and they run him in a hole about like that one old schoolhouse. We didn't know what they had. So we decided we'd get some brush and build a fire in that hole and smoke this varmint out, whatever it was. So the smoke was really boiling off that juniper brush. And I told Bud, I said, I'm going to crawl up there and see if I can see anything because nothing's come out. And I crawled up there, and that son of a gun right down my head. Boom. Scared me to death. Took him off down there and put him in a bluff. Yeah. Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Anyway, we packed him in, cleaned him, gutted him, and packed him in, weighed him. He weighed 158 pounds.
Whoa.
That's a pretty good line.
Big old Tom.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow. Gutted.
Mm-hmm.
No telling what he weighed. 170 maybe, or 60.
Yeah.
That's a big.
65, yeah.
That's a
Cool.
That's a big line.
Not a big line.
Yeah.
Never caught another that big.
No.
So did you get your dogs from, you said Colorado or?
No, well, there was another government hunter, old Jeff Brent. He's retired now. He lives in Washington State. And I got an old hound from him. And she had been in a coyote trap overnight, so she's crippled. And I'd buy them little rubber boots, tape them on there. Oh, yeah. I could hear her coming down the canyon, clip, clip, clop, clip, clop. And then she'd go across the creek and get water in it, and then it'd be swish, 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 swish. But she knew she'd been on a lot of lions, and she helped train some pups for me. But my father-in-law hunted with Dale Lee.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And so did my brother-in-law. And I got my first dogs from, his name was Ross Kane. And, well, he's still alive. His name is still Ross Kane. So, anyway, yeah, I got an old dog called Queenie from him, and then a little white dog I called Moon. And they was just them Arizona dogs. They were Lee brothers, no telling. But going back to the Lee brothers, lots. You know, everybody wanted them dogs, you know. I had that black and tan old Dale. Did you ever get to hunt with him? Yeah. He was a good dog. He went back to them Lee brother dogs. And then, you know, just, heck, I got a blue tick female from the pound in Sierra Vista one time. Boy, she didn't turn out very good. She was too old, you know. I think she was 3 or 4 years old. She was pretty trashy. And then started just raising them, and they're like the old ranch dogs, just like you guys did. Get a pup from somebody, and some of them turned out, some of them didn't, you know. But it's just, I was kind of like you. Got in on that first line, I was ruined. Just ruined.
Get them all.
Just going to get them all every day. Yeah.
I had 2 dogs from a female you had.
Yeah.
An old blue tick dog of Terrell's called, what do you call that dog?
Sport?
No, the blue tick. Sport was black and spotted one. White. Or maybe it was Sport. They made good dogs.
Yeah. And then you got some dogs from some coon hunter somewhere, too.
In Oklahoma.
And those were good dogs.
The best I ever had, by a long ways.
What was that feller's name?
Ed Abel.
Yeah, right. He come to Ray Freeman's one time.
He come and hunted with us.
Yeah.
That's how I got acquainted with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought that dog, and I called him Pal. And the first day I took him hunting, I got acquainted with him first and toughened his feet up. The first day we went hunting, I went over to the ranch. I was by myself, had my other dogs, hit a tom track. He went right with them, wouldn't say a word. Kept going. And under a big tree there, he opened up, and he took the lead from there on and caught lines. He caught them lines out there at Dickerson's that we played with too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went.
He did.
And you had the 2 black ones and the 2 red ticks.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's good dogs.
Good.
The red dogs was good, too.
They were good. They come from Sewell.
Oh, yeah, huh?
Good one.
Yeah. But them black ones, that guy, he was quite the breeder, wasn't he? Ed Abel, right?
Yeah. He won 12 national championships with them. Coon hunting.
Coon dogs, but they work for anything.
I mean.
Yeah.
That dog was 14 months old, and he was trained on coons, and he was broke solid. He never made a bobble.
Well.
And they could cold trail with these.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Me and Wayne caught a line out there. And, well, let me start quicker. We hit the line track in Sycamore, went up a long ridge, and made a big circle in there, and they jumped it. And it come all the way back to Sycamore down in there. And him and that Dixie, another black and tan, outrun them dogs about as pathetic. And treat it.
Your 2 black dogs.
Yeah. And the 2 red dogs was quite a while getting there. And Wayne, I said, heck, go ahead and shoot that line, Wayne. Okay. And he shot it, and it creased right over its head. The bullet. And that line jumped out of there. And that black and tan was right behind it. And that line hit my horse in the hip, and I was standing right there. And bailed off in a big hole of water there in the creek. And I run up there, and that dog jumped right in on top of it. And I shot it right quick 2 or 3 times. And pulled around, that line sunk. Never did come up. So Wayne said, well, it'll come up in 3 days, he said. I'll come back and get it out of there. So he went back in 3 days and let it come up. He was a lot of fun, wasn't he, Roland?
Who?
Wayne Dickerson.
Yeah, Wayne Dickerson was pretty good, and he's pretty smart on them lines, too.
He could see a line track between them alpines. A toe.
I know. He never had any hounds. He had them old Weimaraners or whatever they were.
That one, every time them dogs hit a line track, the hair stood up on that dog's back, and you knew right then what they was trailing. Yeah. That was the darndest thing.
Yeah. You remember Sammy Foster? Did you ever know him?
Yeah. A little bit. Not well.
He told a story about, I don't know where he was, but there was an old feller had a little ranch there, and he was a German. And he didn't speak real good English. I mean, he could speak English, but he had an accent. So Sammy ran into him, and he said, you doing any good hunting them lions? And he said, well, not too much. He said, I'm doing all of the trailing and most of the barking.
Well, that Sammy Foster, he's the one who, he hunted with Dale Lee quite a bit.
Yeah, a bunch. They went to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he and my brother-in-law were partners and took paying hunters out for several years. That's how I got to know him. I had some Sammy Foster dogs, too.
Was it him that they said had some really good bear dogs?
Yeah, better lion dogs, I think.
Better lion
he
dogs.
Could catch bear. Sammy can do it anything, you know.
But did y'all run bears with your dogs, too?
I did. I hated bear. They'd get up there, I'd lose my dogs, and they'd be gone for a week and a half. I didn't. They was the easier way to catch those bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back to Schoolhouse Mountain, me and Bud, and the one you caught 6 lions on top of Schoolhouse Mountain.
Did you ever go back in that hole?
No, not that same place, but they'd go around there in them ledges and just set up there.
Yeah.
Me and Terrell and my dad caught one on Schoolhouse once, too. Big old Tom.
What attracted them to there?
Good layup country is what it was. They could get up there and see everywhere and go hunting and come back to it to lay up.
So you think those places like that where they can get up high and look, I mean, that's...
I think, but I'm not sure. What do you think, Roland? That was a layup country there.
Yeah.
Just the way it laid and set.
Up there where we was...
Different.
We'd usually hit a track where they crossed a lot. We knew where they'd cross a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And in one year, we was getting the cattle out of the mountains, and I think we lost 12, 13 calves. And we was riding every day, bringing them out, get them away from the lines, put them down on our patented land.
So if y'all were going to go out, I mean, if you're going out without finding a track, just looking for a lion, you had a lot of crossings that you knew where to go to.
Oh, yeah.
You bet. They crossed a lot the same. And old Ben Lilly, he could trail a line of ways, and then they say that he could pretty well tell where that line was going. Yeah. Then he'd go make a circle, and he'd go further around and pick it up fresher.
Shorten up that track.
Mm.
Huh.
I done that one time. One time's the only time I ever done it.
Ray Freeman could do that.
Yeah.
Bud Johnson, tell you where. Yep.
Did y'all ever bump into Orville Fletcher over here in this country?
I didn't.
I don't think I did either.
I never.
That's what they say that he was real good at, that he thought like a lion, you know, and they'd get on an old cold track, he could cut through the country, figure out where he was going.
But I tell you what, when those lions got in this blow sand, you could trail it as fast as a dog could, but...
Or a dirt road.
Yeah, or a dusty cow track. I had a lion treed one time, and it jumped out, and the cows just went up the trail in the head of it. He got away.
What... Do you have like one dog that you remember? I mean, that was like an exceptional dog that was, you know, better than the rest of them that you'd ever had, or?
Well, I had one female, and I left the ranch one morning, and the dogs hit something and run off down there, and then the whole bunch went, or not the whole bunch, she didn't go, but the rest of them, and I followed them dogs and finally caught them. And coming back late that evening, there where they'd struck out, I could hear that old dog barking. And I said, well, she's got a lion treat. And she'd stayed there all day by herself and
kept it
there. She was old then. She died not very long after that. She had cancer and died. But she was probably one of my better dogs. And then I had another dog, and I forgot where I got it. It was a gray and white spotted dog, and he was an awful good strike dog, you know. Or I thought he was awful good. You know, the trouble with these lion hunters, every one of them thought they had the best dogs going.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like these cowboys. They got the best horses.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Yeah.
You know, really. That's where you need to be.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sure.
Sam Foster's brother Bailey said they're lion hunters, the lionest guys I ever seen.
Oh, we did stretch the truth just a little.
I had the best mule.
Yeah.
I brag about that mule still till today. That dun mule I had. You remember?
Yeah.
Well, he probably was good.
It was good.
What do you guys prefer, a mule or a horse? Hunting lions.
And I preferred that dun mule I had. 23 years I rode her.
Mule.
Tough.
For the rough country.
Well, I had some mules, and if I was working cows, I'll take a horse.
Well,
Yeah.
right. Sure.
Yeah.
You had a mule I broke and rode.
Which one was that?
Horse mule. Festus. You give him to Billy Lee when he got old on the members, the taxidermist.
Oh.
You don't remember?
I know I had one mule that I got.
He got him from Terrell. You got him from Terrell.
I don't remember.
Horse mule. Pretty tall, pretty good size. He come out of Tennessee. Billy Keeney got him out of Tennessee, and he called me within 3 days after he got him, said, you got to come get this mule. And what's the deal? You just come get him. He's yours. Come get him. And I went and got him, and he had grown into the halter.
Oh.
He couldn't touch him.
Yeah.
I finally got that off and let him heal up, and boy, he was head shy, but I broke him out, and he was all right. You rode him for years.
I guess I did. I don't remember him.
So in the rough country, you like the mules because of the sure-footedness?
Oh, yeah.
How they can just go through that country a lot better.
But they're not all good, just one out of 1,000.
That's what Terrell said. Honestly, I think my we've had 300 or 400 mules because they packed a lot of dudes in and packed salt. He said, I think my granddad, my dad, and the whole family's had 300 or 400 mules. And he said, by golly, we had a couple good ones.
I was up there hunting with him, and I rode a mule that belonged to Lawrence. He called Shorty. You probably remember him. Bay mule, I think. And we're way back there hunting, and one of them cactus that looked like a bobcat turd got stuck on the end of my boot. And I went like that to flip it off, and it landed in his shoulder, and he blowed up. And went off pretty steep. Well, it didn't throw me off, but he didn't. Oh, days.
Just that
good old days.
I tell you what, when it's going downhill and they're jumping pretty high, it's harder to get thrown off. I think they throw me so high I couldn't. They'd just wait for me till I hit the sun again.
I was over in the Burros on Bullard Peak line hunting, and we was trying the line, and it topped out on Bullard Peak in there, and you know that's pretty high peak, steep. Turned back off there. I was riding a mule, and it come out of the boys' ranch up there at Berlin. They'd practice on her. But anyway, I forgot to take my britchin that day. You don't never need to leave it home. And that dang thing throwed me in saddle off. Both of them. And I was still in the saddle and had a hold of the reins, and she turned my right. And she's back there, you idiot. And Bud was with me. I thought he'd never quit laughing. I finally told him, just shut it up, quit.
What was the man down south of Tucson he's on one of those interviews that they did that I got online? I forget. They asked him, they said, do you prefer a mule or a horse? And he said, well, I prefer a good mule. He said, and if I ever find one, I'll buy him.
Yeah.
No.
Childs. Was his name Childs?
No, what's his name? He's passed away now. He wrote the book. He wrote a book, Ollie Barney.
Oh, Ollie Barney.
Ollie Barney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to hunt with him a couple days.
Did you really?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, I bet he was a character, wasn't he?
Oh, poor guy come out of Chicago, panhunter. And he was a boiler maker. Why would I remember that? But he was a boiler maker, and he'd saved his money, you know. And of course, he bought him a brand new Stetson hat, and he couldn't keep it on. And it come off. It was my brother-in-law, and then the hunter, and then me, and then Ollie was behind us. And that Stetson hat come down that trail, going over end, and Ollie said, "If you don't keep that damned hat on, I'm going to shoot it so full of holes you won't be able to wear it." He'd lost it several times that day, you know. And I didn't mind getting off and get it, but Ollie, he didn't like that. He had a black dog, wasn't even a hound dog, short-eared, kind of had long hair. He called him Blackie, and Blackie just went like back and forth across the canyon, and he was just wild. And Ollie said, "Oh, Blackie just hunts insane."
You know, he wrote a book. He's got a book out. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's not real politically correct, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Clyde Reed, did you hunt? Did he come up and hunt with you? Any?
I didn't tell Clyde Reed anything.
Well, I'm sure you didn't. But, no, did he ever hunt with you, though? No?
Just elk and deer.
Oh, he was the luckiest man I ever took hunting with them hounds.
Oh, Clyde?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We caught 3 lines right quick and 3 bear right quick, and he quit. And then I couldn't catch nothing.
When needed Clyde.
Needed Clyde.
So, did y'all all guide hunters? I mean, did you all take hunters? Or
No, not me.
Just
3 or 4 guys was all.
If you was going to take someone, how long? Like now, everybody says, like Mike Root over there, you know, he still does it the old-fashioned way. He just, you know, gets on a mule and makes circles, and he get 10 days. You know, he says that he needs everybody. And I don't know what his success rate is in 10 days, but and then of course Warner Glenn down there, that's his 10-day hunts. I mean, do you think to catch a lion in this country, you think 10 days, 20 days, or does it matter?
Ray Freeman told me about every 10 hunting days you'll catch a lion.
That's probably about right.
Yeah,
He's really grinding it.
Yeah.
Just hunting consecutive days, putting in miles.
You got to be out there to know where something's at. The first day don't count. The second day counts a little better. The third day's a lot better.
Yeah. Got to know what's going on.
Getting something located.
Yep.
Moving through the country and hitting different spots.
Mm-hmm. But Ray would go back, put them dogs right back on where he was the day before, and go on. I've seen him do that a lot.
Yeah,
Sam Foster done that.
I was told that.
Well, that was the fun of hunting, was watching the dogs.
Oh, yeah. That's the deal.
That was after you got one in the tree, it wasn't nothing to shoot them.
Oh, it's over then.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Just watching those dogs work.
And they're a pretty animal. Lion's a pretty animal.
Well,
when they don't have a key after mouth or something, I guess.
Well, they get blamed for a lot of stuff they don't do, too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I killed one lion, and I'd have swore he had a calf killed. And he's on the east side of Rain Creek up there, and those long ridges that run off, it go up to that ridge, it goes up to that cabin up there in the head of Rain Creek. And anyway, well, I went up there one day and found a cow with a big bag. And I went back the next day and had my dogs with me the next day and found a lion track. And I was right there. I thought, well, that calf's gone, the cow. I caught that lion that evening. I was bringing some cattle out from there, and that calf had got with some other cows and crossed a big canyon over there with those other cows.
That lion got blamed for something he didn't do.
Yeah, that lion got, he was actually innocent.
Well, they eat a lot of small stuff, too, I think.
I trailed one that killed a blue jay, and I know it killed it because it's in the snow. And that line, old Leonard Hudson had come by, and the track was right there on top of the hill on the east side of Sackatoon. That thing went nearly to the county road out there and then down, And I quit it down there just before I got to where, just above Buckhorn. And I think that line was the one that went across and got no Drummond's tree.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Frank Drummond had one on top of his house one time.
that was the same
That's
one.
the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I figured it could have been, but it was about the same time. And
Frank said,
She got
her
up.
cousin, and when she cousin,
Yeah.
Mildred said they could hear go dum 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 across the house, and then the old cow dog or house dog treed it, didn't it?
Yeah.
The apple
Jumped
tree.
out there to the apple tree.
Yeah. Dum 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 across the tin.
There should be some lines right here in the river.
Oh boy,
they are.
Got to be.
They,
That's where the deer are.
that's where the deer are now.
Are the deer population here?
The deer population's gone.
yeah.
Pretty much gone.
What do y'all attribute that to?
I say 30-06s. A lot of it.
I got another theory. I think there's too damn many elk. I think the elk are competing with the deer in our country.
We don't have no elk over here.
No.
Scarce. I mean,
Yeah, not
Ogilvy
really.
does on up.
Yeah.
So you say 30-06. Do you think it's poaching, or do you think it's the
Too many hunters, too many hunts,
Yeah.
Too many hunts.
too many hunts, just on and on and on
Yeah.
and on and on.
The deer ain't got a chance ever coming back, I don't think.
I don't either.
because of the way they have the hunt structured?
Oh, they got
somebody-
a bow hunt and a
Muzzle
muzzleload hunt. Wonder they don't have a BB gun hunt.
A senior citizens hunt, a kids hunt.
Yeah.
My uncle
On
said
and on.
next year they'll have a Bowie knife season.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So do you think
I don't know how there's a deer now.
No.
the actual harvesting of the deer, or just that? I talked to Pat Wantland, and he said just because there's people in the woods all the time. So
Oh,
many
I'm
people.
sure they're killing
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And
But the game department needs to take better care of them. Do something different.
Money.
I'll follow the money. Yep.
And there at the end, when there was a lot of deer up there, I talked to some of them, and they said when the deers really started going downhill was when they quit using that 1080 poison.
Yeah.
Well, maybe for the coyotes, huh?
Coyotes, eagles.
Yeah.
I've heard that also. That's what Mike says on the other side. He said everybody blames the lions and everything. He said, but it's the coyotes. He said, we just got too many coyotes.
Oh,
My dad left Buckhorn when he was 16 years old. His dad sent him up to the Cliff Dwellers. Chilton was a big outfitter out of Texas, bringing in lots of hunters. My dad left Buckhorn with a bunch of horses and picked up another bunch here on the river in Mules, 35 head total, 16, one arm. And he went up Bear Creek and stayed at the HW's overnight with Jack Hooker.
probably Jack.
32, 33, somewhere there.
Yeah.
And he went on in there, and he said that deer was by the hundreds in that country then.
Golly,
Hundreds.
it wasn't nothing to see 200 deer in the spring of the year.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even,
Now, what do you see, 5?
Yeah.
3?
I rode up in a haystack the other day, and they wasn't any elk tracks, they wasn't any deer tracks or nothing. There was a few over there around one spring, or one old water hole. It wasn't a spring. But
Beautiful.
I don't think it was the lions. They got rid of all the deer.
No, the lion didn't get
they
rid
had
of all
these
of them.
that year that they had the doe season up there.
That broke it down then.
They slaughtered them by the.
Yeah.
Pick up loads. We seen them from the school bus going home in the evenings. Pick up pile plumb full of does.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was coming out of Brushy Mountain.
Yeah.
That bunch up there.
And that was back in the what years?
Early
was that?
60s, late 50s, I think. Late 50s, wasn't it, Roland?
Yeah. About the time they brought the elk in.
There you go.
And they had a doe season and just.
Oh, yeah. They'd have a doe season right now if it was up to the hunters.
Yeah.
They'd vote to have a doe season.
Yeah.
because the ratio's out of balance. I've heard them say this.
Yeah.
I think that's about the time that. Did you know Mr. Mars, the saddle maker, Old Man Mars?
I had some of his saddles.
Yeah, I got a pack saddle. Well, I got my first 2 saddles are Mars saddles, and he talked about. I think that same deal. He said that they killed so many does there for a period of time that he said they just can't recover.
Wait a minute, I didn't know Mars. Sessler was.
Sessler, A.D. Sessler, who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mars, M-A-R-R-S. He Clinton Halsey was married to Mr. Mars' daughter for a little while. That was his first wife. And
I knew Quentin.
Yeah. And I think Quentin's the one, they divorced or whatever, and Quentin told Jim Farmer, she broke an axe handle and crippled a hound pup, he said, so I sent her home.
You want a story about Quentin I know about?
Yes, sir.
Well, Quentin stayed in Glenwood one night too late around one of them bars. He headed home, and he made it to the Silver Creek Divide going into Willow Creek from Muggione, and he turned his old pickup over there in the bar ditch. Well, I come along up there the next morning early. I was working for the state, and somebody had reported it. And I stopped, and I was talking to Quentin. He's pretty drunk. He's sitting there on the bank. And anyway, the law showed up, and I stayed there a little bit. And they was going to give him a ticket or this and that. And he said, hell no, you ain't giving me no ticket. I got drunk after I turned that damn thing over.
Yeah.
Oh, Quentin, quite a guy.
Well, he packed a bullet till he died, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. I forget who he was with, but they got into...
He's one of a kind, old Quentin.
Old Quentin, they told it on him. Forrest would be working up there on those trails. He'd come along, pick up her camp, move it down the creek, set it up again for him.
He had some bear dogs, didn't he, Kenny? Didn't he catch a lot of bear?
I really don't know. He could have. I really don't know.
Bud Johnson hunted with him.
Really?
They caught a bunch of bear.
That's what
I think he had bear dogs and not so much lion dogs.
I had heard that. And then in his old barn down there, he had those bear paws nailed to the barn.
Yeah.
They said all the hide comes off them, looks like a human hand.
Yeah.
I know he loaned 2 mules or rented them to some guys out of Houston, Texas that come in there and camped and went back in there somewhere elk hunting from Silver Creek Divide around there the next place, Sandy Point. And anyway, he had loaned them these 2 mules, I bet he didn't loan them to them. But anyway, it come a snowstorm in the end of October, 3 foot on the level and through there. And I went in there in a loader, and a pickup followed me in there loaded with fuel. And we got those hunters. We knew they was in there. And they was all in their pickups, froze to death nearly, and out of fuel nearly. We filled them up, and they had those 2 mules at Quinton's, and they didn't know what they was going to do with them. I said, turn them loose. They're going home.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Because I had to go into Willow Creek anyway, that loader, and push that snow out, and they just trotted along behind me.
Yeah.
Those guys said they'd better stay in Houston and fight crime despite the snowstorm.
Oh, yeah. Well, I found a big old yearling. Wasn't a big old yearling, but a yearling. It took me all day to get him in a trap there. And I had some other cattle in there. I thought, well, he'll stay, you know. So I went down the next morning to get that. I was going to haul some other yearlings out. And the dang old Tom Lyon had killed that yearling. The one I worked all day. I had to sideline. He's a mess. I sidelined him and finally got him in there, you know. Anyway, he was dead. The lion. So Bud and I went back down there the next morning, and he had been back to that kill. And we took it backwards off the kill, and we figured that out, and the dogs did. And finally we got him going away from the kill and went right up the creek, and was looking and looking. Dogs are coming through some ledges there. Bud had a bloodhound, and he called her Lollipop. And she wasn't worth 6 rotten eggs, I'll tell you. She was no good, and Bud knew it, you know. And she wasn't even with the dog. She's off in the canyon. We seen this lion come out under a tree there, and he's trying to go and get away. Well, he run right into Lollipop, and she went, woof, woof, like that, and turned him back up the hill. And I got a picture of him on the skyline. He's going off a ridge. Bud goes, I'll run down the canyon and keep my eye on him, and you stay here and watch the dogs. See what happens. Well, it wasn't just a little bit why the dogs found where he was there, and where he went rimmed out, and they could go pretty good on it. Bud, he was on down there. So I was with the dogs, and they're coming, and they get over there and going down the canyon. Bud, he's riding a little old ranch horse we had called Curly. And he is talking real fast, Bud was. He goes, I got me an old Curly. He said, we treed that line. We had him in that sycamore tree right there. And he'd go up that sycamore, and then he'd start down, and I'd charge him, and I'd holler, and old Curly didn't care. He'd just run up there, too. But he said he finally jumped out. So he's down in the canyon a ways. And let me tell you, Bud Johnson never said a cross word to me before that day or since. We're down in the canyon. He's telling me this big story. I said, well, Bud, where'd he go? And he goes, God damn it, Jim, right up through there. It's a stupid question. He had watched him, you know. Bud, he don't cuss like that. Anyway, long story short, them dogs took him down there and they got him. He's a big old gray-faced, mean son of a buck. Looking mean, you know. But we got him finally. Oh, Bud. Did you ever hunt with Bud?
A little bit.
Yeah. You never hunted with Buddy Johnson?
No.
Yeah, he's fun to go with. He's pretty knowledgeable, you know. Yeah.
I guess not as many deer, not as many lions nowadays, is there?
That's the truth. Yeah, no. There's not as many lions as there was 10 years ago. Huh, Kenny?
I don't think there is. Hell, our country was loaded with them over there for a good many years, and no deer left, no nothing, no lions.
Lots of bears.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plenty of bear, huh?
I think the bear have killed out some of these deer, too.
I know they have. I was coming down Ring Creek one evening, and I was on our patented land, and there in the lower end of Ring Creek. I rode up on an old O&O. Then the bear track was there, and the blood was still running out of her.
We was over there at the Bar 6 hunting one time, me and my dad and Ray Freeman, and we hit a line track, and it'd just go here, there, here, there, here, there. And they caught it. We thought they caught it. And we're going down there to where this big commotion took place, and they all shut up and went on. And we get there, and they had caught a deer and killed it. I guess that deer ran through them.
Them hounds did.
Yeah, and one of them grabbed it, and that was it. They killed it. Then just went on with the line. Did you ever have that happen?
I lost my dogs one time, and they didn't come in. I went back, and they was laying on where the lion had killed it. A deer that they'd ate most of the deer up, but they was pretty happy.
Yeah.
They were full.
Hound don't care.
Trailed dude. Yep.
Back before these shock collars and everything, how did y'all break your dogs? Or
saddle rope.
Run them down. And
those old-time dogs was hard-headed, too.
Oh.
They were really, really hard-headed, weren't they?
Yeah. Daddy had one dog. He was one of Clell Lee's dogs. Daddy whipped that dog. Good gosh, he'd whip him, hang him up, nearly choke him, then lay him down and whip him some more. That old dog got to where when the other dogs had run a deer, he'd come get right behind Daddy's horse and stay there. He wouldn't run a deer. But so hard that dog was bad about running deer.
Do y'all use the shock collars now? Or do you have,
I never did have I never could use a shock collar.
Now we got the GPSs, me and Ethan.
Oh, they got them darn GPSs. They don't even know what hunting is anymore.
Sure was a game changer.
Well, there goes my Garmin sponsorship.
Yeah.
I might have could have found my dogs if I'd have, but I lost them if I'd have had one of them things. Oh, You got one of them things you point where the dogs are, tell how far they are from you.
Yeah.
Well, now a lot of these guys, they just drive around their pickup truck.
Oh,
and
they don't know what hunting is.
Look at their thing, and they'll say, oh, so-and-so's in the lead, and this and that. And
I went up there and went bear hunting with Billy Keeney one fall. Turkey season was open. But anyway, I think maybe it's in the spring. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, we caught a bear, and we're coming back in. This one dog, he disappeared. So we go on down to pick up, wasn't too much further from where he disappeared. He finally shows up, and as the guy showed up, and the guy that showed up with him was really mad. He had got his turkey from the tree. He's hanging here, and he's about to tell the hound, of course, what's he going to do, you know? We had to buy that guy another license permit. He was upset. Billy, he just had a royal fit after everything was said, you know.
Oh, Billy had fun with that, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Got the turkey. He didn't have enough sense to hang him up the tree.
Yeah. So if it wouldn't have been that hound dog, varmint had got it or something.
Yeah, sure.
something,
Yeah.
Oh, Billy Keeney, he was something else.
Oh.
Boy, he caught a lot of bear that few years there when he had that strong pack of dogs. Now, I think he had 9 of them, and they catch them bear, mister.
He told me, he said, when I had them good bear dogs there for several years, he said, I'd go out in the morning early and the bear would just come out of the brush and hold their hands in the air like they give up.
Give up.
They just give up.
You know where he got all them dogs, don't you? Me and Taro.
Yeah?
Yeah. Billy was a lot of fun. We went up there, he called a line, run across the road, up there somewhere, going to Jewett Gap, above Horse Spring, above Reserve. And
yeah.
So we go up there, and me and Clyde Reed, he went. Clyde was driving. He was in his pickup horse trailer, and we got Billy and his horse, and we going up there and had the dogs, and parked right on the edge of the road. Billy, right here's where it cross, right here's where we go. And no gate. So Billy, he's a fence cutter. Just cut the fence. We got to get in there. So we did. They hit the track there and took it. And they went around there, and there's this great big rim coming around. And that line jumped up probably 6 foot high up here. The dogs couldn't get up there. And Billy said, Kenny, you're going to have to throw them dogs up there. So, well, yeah, of course. So I'm throwing them, and this blue dog I had, I throwed him up there, and he knocked a rock off and hit me right there. Damn near knocked me out. But anyway, we went on around there, and we caught the line. And I can't remember that boy's name that had run across the road in front of, but he had a bow and arrow, and he shot that line with a bow and arrow. Hit him right there, and that arrow flew out the other side, and he fell out dead.
You remember old Polo?
Oh, yeah, a lot.
I tell you, Terrell had a hunter, and getting toward the end of when he was hunting, he says, wanted me to help him. And so I went around the south side of 74, and he went over the top.
I was with Terrell.
Was you with Terrell that day?
Yeah.
Was it when the old Polo clumb up in that bluff?
Barefooted.
Barefooted?
Yeah.
Anyway, those dogs had went back toward Falls over there, but they're still on the south side of 74. And they had the dogs, and the line was down, when I got there, was down in some rocks. He just laying there asleep, wasn't paying no attention to those dogs. And when I rode up, he jumped out, and I told Terrell where he could come off in under those bluffs. And you all see that line go up out in.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Yeah. And it got up there, and it got in a hole, and he couldn't get on out. I got above it.
You couldn't see it either, could you?
No, I couldn't see the line either. And old Polo clumb up there and moved that line to where that hunter shot it.
He took his shoes and socks off. Didn't climb that bluff.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have clubbed a bluff for no line. Not that one anyway.
Who was the hunter?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
Have you ever been scared a lion was going to get after you?
Well, I was like Kitty one day. I had a lion went in a crevice, and it wasn't far over here at that, about close for me to use in the back of the crevice, rocks had caved in there, and I could see it back there, see it slide. I had an old 45 automatic. I was squatted down there and shot. The lion didn't come out. I squatted down and shot again. Next time I squatted down, the darn thing come right across my chest. I guess I tightened up pretty good. That old 45 went off again.
I'll tell you a place was really good lion hunting was down there when you drop off in the flats to Lordsburg, out there on the east side of the road, Apache Peak. Over there, boy, that was hot.
Yeah.
But it was dangerous. All them mining tunnels.
All them holes, yeah.
They'd go right in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's one of them shafts just straight down. They put a line off in it, and it just old tins on top, and them hounds all over it just going up and down.
Oh. They got him back?
We've got them off of it. Left.
He left, yeah.
Golly.
Gold Hill and Apache Peak in there.
They don't ever come to you, try to get you, though. I guess maybe a wounded one would, but I never have. They try to get away from you. They'll run over you.
I was up there at Lawrence one time, and I'd caught some lions there just you top out into Shelley Park. Had one that's still there. Lawrence and I went up there down there on that steep hillside. They put it in a little old pinny-on tree, and the dog reached up, grabbed it, and jerked it out. It went right under Lawrence's horse.
Oh, yeah, she was like your shepherd. This old dog I called Jewel. She was all cow dog, I mean, border collie cross of some kind. She caught 3 lions by herself. There wasn't another hound around. 3 of them. She knew the drill. She'd trail, too. Yip, 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 yip.
Oh, she'd open on the trap.
Yeah.
I'll be dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray Freeman come to the ranch years ago. Daddy called him. And I had that old shepherd dog. I think I was 13 or 14 at the time then, too. And he called a line. That old dog's right with him. And treed.
Yeah. This old Jewel dog, if the tree was kind of on a slope, she'd get where she was just as close as she could. Go up the hill, and look across at that line. She'd sit on her butt in the tree. Just yike, 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 yike.
Ray Freeman gave Marion Crumley a dog called Mo years ago, a good many years ago, and he caught a lot of lions, that dog. Just that one dog. But it would not honor nothing.
Oh.
And that's Ray told me, that's why I gave him to him. He said, hell, he won't honor nothing.
Marion Crumley, he caught a lot of lions, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's got a diary, somebody said. Of every lion he caught, he wrote it down.
I was over there and we caught 5, and Mr. Bishop visited him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mr. Bishop. Yeah. I kind of forgot about him. I'm glad he retired.
I can tell you another story about Bishop.
I got to know who he is.
Well,
he's the game warden.
Back to the bears. Did y'all break your dogs off bears? I mean, did you just...
Well, Ethan and I started in doing that because we just don't want to... True or false? A good bear dog's hard to get to screw down on a lion track. Do you believe that?
Yeah, more or less. They can't slow down enough.
Just a different kind of dog.
Yeah, they got to be gritty, hard-nosed, running son of a gun. It's good bear dogs. Good bear dogs are great.
Oh, yeah.
But hard to get them to screw down on a day.
They need to do one thing.
There you go.
A hound. One thing.
Yeah.
Either lion
or bear.
Bear or run them bobcats, whatever. One thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, them bear whipped a dog of ours Day and I was coming down Sackatoon, and bear run across the creek. This old dog come out there. Man, she taken after that bear going the right way. A little bit, she come back on the back track. After them bear whip them, but really whip them, they make good line dogs.
After that,
Yeah, break them off. Yeah.
Well, we had a bear a good many years ago killing cattle over here at the place. I think killed 7 cows that I knew of.
Whoa.
And I couldn't catch it with my dogs. I didn't have old pal in that bunch then. But anyway, I run into Sewell Goodwin, and I tell him about it, and he said, heck, I'll come down in the morning. I'll bring my dogs. So he come down. He had 7, 8 dogs. I took 5 or 6 dogs. We had lots of dogs. Well, we go and we jump that bear right off a cow. And they pulled out toward Greenwood, of course. No other place to go, you know, Greenwood. And I had one old blue tick dog, and he fell behind. But he just kept coming. And we could hear them dogs a squalling. That bear was working on them, and they finally all quit.
Whipped them.
And that old blue dog come on and went through them, and Sewell was right there with them. And went through them, went right on around there about 100 yards and went to baying. And that bear was sitting against a bluff in a big pine tree and panting that, blowing out his mouth that far, and I slipped around there with the 243 and killed him.
Yeah.
And that old blue dog was so happy. He'd look at them dogs. How you stupid son of a bitches doing? You know,
12 dogs. Whipped 12 dogs off. No, or 11, 12. And then he come along and made it by himself.
Yeah, 13, 14 years old. Funny things can happen, though.
Oh, gosh.
You know, just hunting. It's called hunting.
Kind of don't know what's going to happen next. A bunch of old hound dogs.
That's right.
How many dogs y'all like to put on the ground at a time if you're lion hunting?
Well, Ethan and I like 18 or 20. No.
I'm at 5 or 6. It's pretty nice.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Remember that time
I agree.
me and you and Terrell was hunting and them dogs kind of bayed in some bluffs or something? You was down in under there looking, and my dogs went to barking. They weren't real old, them two that you had the mother of. And I hollered at you, what my dog's doing wrong? Barking at my mule. You remember that? Hell, I thought they had a lion. I didn't know. That's pretty funny.
And dogs, anybody, I agree with you, anybody that says their dogs won't trail the back track of a lion's a liar.
Yep.
Something that, I mean, you've recognized quite a bit in the past that just they'll trail them backwards as easy as they'll trail them forwards?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I think better.
It's hard to turn them around if they go very far backwards. It's hard to turn around and go back.
Oh, gosh. Furthest I ever walked in one day was Daddy was in the lead of it and started the line off into Muggy Own Creek, got down there in Muggy Own Creek, and they was going out on 74. I thought, well, I can catch them afoot and turn them around. I did about pine flat. Golly.
Hard to turn around.
Most of the time if you're going up the canyon, tracks coming down or up, they don't go up the canyon the way you've been traveling, you know. But I had a dog that I got from Gary Washburn over there at Fort Sumner, them Walker dogs. And we were going up country, and they started a track. I couldn't find one. It was rocky there. And he went there about 50 yards and just whirled around on that track and went the other way. And I thought, dang, he's going to go backwards. And I turned my horse around and went just a little ways, and they were going right. He turned that track around. I don't know, maybe just
something triggered
or just happened, you know. But
well, I think you can trail one backwards and catch it too. Go to the keel.
True. That's
you
true.
know, I mean,
exactly. Yeah. When you go backtrack. So Ray said we trailed that lion clear back to where he was born.
Ed Abel had that Tennessee big wheel and Tennessee Liza Jane. He paid $21,000 for the pair of them. Come out of Tennessee. And that pal dog I had was out of them.
They make good lion hounds?
That black
world
dog
champions.
that you had could run a line faster than any dog I ever seen.
Yeah.
I seen him trailing.
He's gone.
They're good ones.
I'll tell you what, them other dogs I had when I throwed him in there really perked them up.
The red dogs, the bred chicks.
They had to break and run.
Yeah.
Quit scratching their nose on every rock.
Yeah, well.
And it really made a difference in them.
I hit a bear up there after you go past where you go off into Bud's Hole. And he crossed out and went out on the other side of Muggy Creek. I went up there and finally heard my dogs bayed. Man, I got my gun and slipped off down there. This black dog that I had, he was in the lead, and they was barking at him. He'd got to that hole of water, and he was in the hole of water, and the other dogs was barking at him.
Oh, jeez. How old a track do you think you can trail in this country?
It all depends on the weather.
Yeah, what it's like.
When it's dry like this, you can't trail a old track very far. Or
good, anyway. No. But if everything's right, I think they can trail a fairly old track.
It can.
Maybe three or 4 days.
Yeah.
Without it. Trailing conditions.
I think so, too. If the weather's just right, man, we're like in this grass, they can be trailing real good, and they'll hit a patch of grass, and it's hard for them to trail.
Well, what about in them mountains after a ford? If a line goes through that ford, can you trail it? Or do you really know?
I don't know.
I lost a big tom in a burn scar. We trailed him like they were looking at him. I mean, we started up on top of the Animus, and we bailed off down through there. We thought they were going to catch him at any minute, and they hit that burn scar where that fire went down through there. And those dogs just started standing on their head. They couldn't trail.
Yeah, that's what a cousin of mine, in Colorado, Fruita, Colorado, done a lot of line hunting. He went into Venezuela, and a bunch of that country had burned. He said he couldn't trail nothing through it.
It happened to me one time in the Huachucas. We trailed into
a burn,
and they had dropped some slurry in there too. Them dogs just brick walled. They just stopped. We couldn't get through it.
I was out there in Panther Canyon over here, and there's a guy out of Ohio with me that a friend of mine was with me, and it was a friend of his, so, of course, take him hunting. And we're coming around above one of them rims. We'd been about all day and hadn't even got a bark. And the dogs had thrown in behind. They'll give up if you don't get to hit some signs sometimes in the evening, you know. And I heard this big wreck happen behind me. And I looked back, and there was a line straight up in the sky there, about 10 or 12 foot. And I rode right by it in the damn bear grass.
Yeah. That was cool, huh?
Yeah.
Them dogs.
The catch wasn't that quick that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal.
Sometimes you get a slam dunk. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I had a line behind Haystack up there, go around there, and there's a pretty big flat and a pretty big solid rock outfit. And in the middle of it was a bunch of oaks, little oaks. The dogs had been around there for quite a little bit, and pretty soon the line come out of that bunch of oaks.
Yeah.
Went around there.
Playing possum in there, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I'm convinced that a lion will hide from your dogs and go off over yonder somewhere and up a tree, and they'll never find it.
Yep.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
When I was in the Army, old Jerry Patton and my dad was hunting up there, and the dogs was trailing toward them, and they was sitting there under a tree eating their lunch. The dogs hadn't got to them yet. Old Jerry looked up, and the lion was sitting at the rim.
What about they say about lions being able to turn off their scent?
I believe that, too. When they cross the highway, you can't trail one. Hardly.
I don't know. I lost a lot of pretty good tracks right at dark, and I don't know why.
And they hit a road, you can't trail them. I don't know if that's the sin or just the road, probably, but I know a coon can turn it off.
You know,
I've had enough of them run by me at night on that Gila River out here hunting on a ditch bank. You pop your hands. That takes care of it.
oh,
They won't tread it no further.
I got the privilege to hunt with Marvin and Warner, but Marvin, we lived at that old Dart Ranch. It was neighbors to him, kind of.
Warner Glenn?
Yeah, but with his dad, Marvin.
Oh, okay.
With Warner too, but Marvin. And Marvin told me this story. It snowed 8 or 10 inches, brand new snow, and they found a track. You can see the track, and the hounds was just going like the dickens on it overnight. Went around and finally got to them down there, and they was all balled up. They couldn't take it another step. And Marvin said, I could see that track going. He could see the track going in the snow. And he said, I could see where his old tail went in the snow, and then pretty soon his belly was dragging in the snow. And he said, so I just walked off down, led his mule and went off down there, and he'd killed a little buck. So he got his hounds down there to that kill, and they blasted off and caught that lion. But when he went to sneaking down to that deer, he had turned her off.
Yep, I agree. That's what, when I hunted with Orville Fletcher, that's what he told me. He said, you know how they say that a lion will turn off his scent? And I said, yes, sir. And he told me, he said that's when they go to sneaking. He said when they go to sneaking, they just don't leave any scent. And that
proved it.
That story that you tell right there. He went to sneaking up on that buck and he just wasn't leaving any scent. But when they're just kind of, traveling through the country, then
yeah. Well, them we call them old wild females. They get to walking out ahead of your dogs. You can see them, and when they're walking along, they can trail them, but
they're laying down though. Down low.
Yeah, down low, and they can trail them, but not fast. You can trail them from now on; they never catch her.
Yeah.
Just walking along. Don't you think the females are harder to catch than the dog?
Oh, I think so.
Leave a lot less scent.
Roland, did you hunt much in the real high country?
Quite a bit. Not real high, but yeah.
Would they go plumb in that old high country, I guess?
I never did have. Usually they'd go around the mountain some which way.
The face of them?
Yeah, that one line that run till the dogs killed it, I don't know where it went. Because it had to be give out for them dogs to catch it on the ground. It was just a normal size tom. It wasn't a big tom. It wasn't a real little one.
Do you have to help your dogs quite a bit? I mean, when.
Oh yeah, I'd get off. Maddest my dad ever got at me was over a dog. We was up there in the spring of the year and dry, and we'd trailed it there. And one old dog, his dad's dog, I went over and just nudged her with my toe. She went over and laid down. Man, he got mad and left. He pulled out. I thought, well, I ain't going to say that, but I'm staying with the dogs. And I messed with it and finally got over in some brush, and they could trail it on that brush. You're trailing it off the brush. A little bit, Dad showed back up. I didn't say a word, and he didn't either. But he was mad. Man, I knew he was mad, and I wasn't about to say nothing.
Because you didn't kick that dog, just kind of nudged it.
I just nudged it with my foot, and man, he said, I've seen more fights over dogs and horses than anything else.
Well, them dogs will trail better in them mountains than they will down in this lower end.
Yeah, and
on that brush, I guess.
Keith Wilkerson tells me that out there in those, what they call it, the Black Hills out the other side of...
Oh, yeah, the freeway?
Yeah. He said, man, it's hard to trail in those.
Yeah, I bet.
Hot and dry.
All them old big cactus.
They're just solid.
Yeah. He said, you just don't trail fast in that country at all.
How long did you guys give a dog a chance to start?
Oh, I give him way too long.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Well, you got to give him a chance. They'll do something. One that's bred a little bit will do something if you give him a good chance.
I'll tell you what, that he told me to kill, I don't know. He didn't start, but when he did, I know that one line over there we caught that time. He'd go off, and then he'd go back. You could hear him. He'd be trailing off there, and then he'd be back up there. When he got it lined out, well, then the others went with him.
Pretty odd.
I had a blue tick, one of the first dogs I had. I called her Queenie, and she wouldn't do nothing. But I just turned her loose, and the kids was little, and they played with her and wallered her around and bit her nose, and she was just a house dog. She wouldn't do nothing. And my brother-in-law said, I don't know about old Queenie. He said, tie her up. Tie her up. I put her on a chain, and it wasn't about 2 months she started trailing, started working. She was too much of a house pet.
How old was she, you think?
Oh, year and a half, probably. But she'd been hunting a lot, but she wouldn't do nothing. Just go along with the mules, and tied her up, chained her up, and she went to work.
Old Mary had a dog he called Bullet. Everybody remembered him if they ever hunted with him. Dog could tread a line all day, and he'd step there with them. And when they kind of slowed down, he'd just sit down. He'd never trail or nothing. Just stay with them and sit down. And when they jumped the line, boom, he was gone in the lead. And tripped.
Pretty smart.
Have y'all ever tried any of those, like a running walker, running type dogs?
Not running tree and walkers.
Yeah, they got like a running walker, and then what else they have? Julis, and a lot of those Bobcat guys swear by the running dogs.
Oh, yeah, down in Texas, they use them running walkers. Catch the heck out of them Bobcat at night.
Jump races, don't you reckon? Just jump races.
Well, they're right behind them.
Yeah, that's what I say.
But there are a lot of cats down there, I guess.
Yeah.
They say they got those Bobcats just like we got jackrabbits. They're everywhere.
Well, we had a walker dog, and got them from the maze down there in Deming. I don't know what kind of a walker dog she was, but she had a different bark. Was going up there one day, and she barked, and I said, oh, she's running a coyote. She wasn't.
I've had one walker dog in my life, and he'd bark nonstop, treed, but he couldn't really trail with them. And I gave him to a boy up at Mountain Air, Briote. He was in them coon hunting deals, them deals, and he could win the treeing contest because it barked so many times a minute. He was so happy with that dog. 104 times or something like a minute.
Oh, boy.
Just
That's when you were talking about the I guess it was the black and tan, or the dogs that you got out of Oklahoma that were so good, that competition type, or they were coon hounds, but they say now with the competition type coon hounds that they've ruined them because they're just just moving to find a fast track because of the way the rules are set up, how they can win.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
And they just don't settle down and trail.
Oh, I bet not.
But I've never.
I went back there and hunted with him there in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
With that Abel guy?
Yeah,
You did?
Yeah, he'd take 2 of them champion dogs. That's all he'd take when I was there. And he told me when he let them dogs out, he said, Kenny, we won't get them dogs until they're under a tree.
Yeah.
That's just the way it was.
Wow.
But they had lots of coon.
All them dogs we got from Mr. Washburn, they were bred up and they all worked. They all
liked
worked.
them.
They're good dogs in every breed.
Oh, sure.
Really.
Sure.
For what they're for. Just like horses. What they're bred for. They'll get her done if they get the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, a man needs a cold-nosed old track-at-a-time dog, and you need some dogs that'll move a track and jump out there, and it takes all kinds to catch a lion.
Takes about 5 or 6 different type dogs to catch them.
Yeah.
I had that one red tick dog, that male. When he found a line track, he was good at finding one. But he wouldn't bark right quick on one. And his old tail would go to hitting him on the rib cage. Pop, pop. And them other dogs hear it and then knock him down.
They knew, yeah.
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah.
Then he'd get all excited and bark.
And he'd bark, finally.
I sold a red dog that we raised to the game department. And that dog made me so darn mad. He'd hit a track, and if it was on a cow trail or just a government trail, he'd just take off and run and bark, bark, bark. You go plumb maybe 3/4 mile, and then have to come back and start over again. I sold it to the game department, and old Alton Ford was living up here above us. And one day I walked up there to his house, and I stepped up on the back porch there. I looked up, and there was a fresh lion skull. I said, Alton, what did you do with this fresh lion skull? He said, oh, I was setting a trap over at Mule Creek. He went off and treed a lion, and I had to kill it for him.
You think shooting game out to those dogs sharpens them quite a bit?
You got to shoot some out. I don't know if you have to shoot it all out.
Yeah.
Because on these coons, we wouldn't shoot them. Now, maybe once a week or something. But if we'd have shot them all out, there wouldn't have been any left.
Yeah.
And we hunted every night.
Really?
Just about. That's when you could hunt every night here, though. You couldn't do that now.
Oh,
you'd get shot.
Yeah.
Oh, too many people?
Yeah. New
People have changed.
And changed, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
You get shot.
This river ain't the same as it used to be, Kitty.
Nope.
You know that, and I know it.
It's no fun anymore.
No.
How about bobcats? You catch many bobcats?
I've caught a few.
Few, not many.
Bobcats harder to trail than a lion.
You remember when they was bringing $300 bobcat? I caught 3 one week. I thought I was rich.
Well, you were.
I was. I had more money than I ever had.
Yeah. I think most of the bobcats we catch, we just kind of run into them. Or
just pop-ups, yeah.
One of them was up there on Duck Creek. They're about right below Buckhorn in that stretch through there. Yeah. And I shot that thing. That pistol went off several more times. When I come home that night, I threw it in the Gila River. It's an automatic Ruger.
Oh.
I just tossed it all in the river.
Yeah, he just kept it going.
Yeah.
Oh, he kind of jerking your finger.
I guess.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Dangerous, so I throw it in the river.
Well, nobody else is going to have trouble with it.
Well, I got shot one time.
Was you growling?
No, I was trailing a line, and it went up Muggy Creek and up on the hillside. And I thought it was going out on 74, and I rode up there and couldn't ride my horse anywhere, so I had a brand new 22 Magnum with a 7-inch barrel on it. So I pulled my leggings and spurs off and stuck my pistol in my hip pocket. I never carried a bullet in a barrel. And I guess going through the brush, it got cocked. And I got up there and squatted down. My dogs was treed on up the creek a little ways. When I squatted down, that darn thing went off and shot me right through the leg right here.
Oh, man.
And it missed the bone and everything. Didn't hurt much. I pulled my pants up, had my long handles on. And I thought, heck, I'll see calves bleeding worse than this. I ain't hurt very bad. Long as I was going downhill, it didn't hurt. But when I started back up to my horse, I had to cut me a come along.
Come along. But dang, that wasn't good.
If it had broke my leg, they might have never found me.
Yeah.
Another thing about some of these lines, they'll eat something dead.
Bet.
Oh, you darn right they will.
Yeah.
I had a cow die up there between our fence and Charlie's fence. I run a line in there every day and couldn't catch the thing. There's tracks everywhere.
Wayne Dickerson had a steer yearling out there on that tank dam.
Mm-hmm.
About a week later, the line, old Tom come in there and covered it up, and we caught it. And Wayne wanted a good hide, and it was a nice hide, good size, and we couldn't skin it. It stunk so bad.
Oh, eating on
eating on it.
Steer.
Yeah.
Huh.
Seen several of them eat on a dead cow. And
Yep.
they can't help it. They got to try to cover it. They might not get
Oh, yeah, they got to cover it.
Might not get her covered, but you can see where they tried, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any that just didn't come back to a kill and make a kill and just keep on going?
That Marvin Glenn I was telling you about, Warner's dad, I found a fresh kill one morning on that old dart ranch over there in the Chiricahua Mountains. And that was fresh. The blood was running out of her. So I couldn't wait to get back to the house. I called Marvin. I said, told him. He said, well, was it a lion? I said, yes, sir. There's lion tracks all around there. He said, did he try to cover it? And I said, no, not too much. It was real hot, like in July. And I better quit pulling on that.
Oh, no, you're all right.
So he said, Jim, I ain't going to come because he said that lion won't come back. Well, I had some pups and some old dumb dogs, and so I thought, well, I'll go over there tomorrow morning. And I went over there, and he never did come back. I went 2 mornings, and he never come back, but it was hot. And that's what Marvin said to him. They kill the deer when it's real hot sometimes. Most of the time, they won't come back.
I had one kill an old buck over at the ranch. This in the summertime, and just had little old nubs. And it's all covered up. So I went early the next morning with the dogs. Nothing. I thought that evening I drove back up there in the pickup. You get to him in the pickup. And I drove back up there and he'd come cleaned it up. So
come in the daytime and clean it up.
I had
That's crazy, huh?
it's crazy.
I had a lion kill 2 calves off in Rain Creek, just off in the hill there where that old road went off. And the lion didn't come back. I went 2 or 3 days and he didn't come back. I come by there a few days later and I caught him. That's when me and the game department really fell out. That gum, I skinned that thing. I'd been selling those hides to these taxidermists for about $100 apiece.
Right.
I was down there working on the windmill, and they come up the house, and Lenore showed them where the darn line hide was. Those 2 game wards take my line hide, never said a word. I never got anything for them 2 calves either.
Yeah. So my dogs run a herd of elk out of the Muley Mountains across the highway, clear up. And I was riding for them, and your mom still lived in the old house there. I could not find them. And I remember I rode down there, and she come out on the porch, and I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I'm looking for some hound dogs. She said, oh, my husband and boys, that's all they got done.
I'll tell you all a story about Bob Clute and Sewell Goodwin. In Roberts Park, somewhere in that country, they had a guy, Bob Clute had a guy that wanted to kill a bear. So they went out there. You know all about that country. Anyway, they jumped this bear, or whatever it was, and Bob, he gets all excited. He'd really get excited over anything, Bob Clute would. He said, Sewell, it's a big one. It's a big one. I can tell the way the dogs are running. So Bob was they followed them dogs, and they went to a dirt tank, and they had a big bull elk bayed up in the tank.
I was trailing a line up there, and that big rock that sticks up there in the head of Benton?
Mm-hmm.
Great big rock.
Oh, yeah.
Real prominent rock.
Mm-hmm.
I was trailing the line, and my dogs trailed up and trailed right into a bunch of elk. And the doggone thing run, and the dogs taking after it. Well, I told Dad, I said, they're going to put that elk in a tank somewhere. I'm going to the house and getting the pickup. And Dad said, well, I'm going to follow the tracks and see where it went. Well, that tank just this side of Pine Creek, or Little Dry, they had it there. I whipped dogs till I give out. And about that time, Daddy come in and rode all the way down there.
It's funny how that stuff will get in the water. I've seen some deer do that down on the river one night. Dogs put it in the river.
I'll tell you what, you know where that big old pinion tree is that sticks up over there on the sycamore? Just out of Sycamore and that big bluff right behind.
Oh, yeah. You put a line in it.
Yeah, I did.
That ain't but 200 foot up there.
I know it. I shot that line and grabbed him by the tail to keep my dogs from dragging him out their heads and blow.
That's quite a place for him to go, wasn't it?
Yeah. Old Ray Freeman told Curly, said, Curly, go up there and cut that new tree down.
We were over there, trailed the line all day, and it went back down on the south end of Black Mountain, and them rams in there.
Mm-hmm.
And Curly was with us, and he had 2 dogs that he'd got that you'd give him, and he never trained them. He never done nothing with them. They just run loose. And they wasn't with the dogs or nothing. And they're trading them old dogs there by Curly laying down. And here a rattlesnake went to buzzing there. It warmed up, I guess, and he started buzzing. Boom, 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 Curly went. The dogs quit.
Yeah.
Quit trading.
Yeah.
Well, we just sat there. Finally, they went back to trading. And here come a bobcat up out there. And it went by Curly. Boom, boom, boom. The dogs quit again. And anyway, they finally started again and jumped the damn line, and here it come, and Curly, boom, boom, boom. And the dogs quit, and them 2 got up and went and treated. God damn, Ray was mad.
I bet he was.
Oh, man.
What you told me one time, said, go hunting with Curly, and they just, his dogs, all the, just trailing little varmints around.
They'll do anything.
Yeah.
I went over and helped him work his cattle a number of times, and all them house dogs and hounds would go, and we was going up Sycamore, and the kids were there, his daughters, and I don't know who else. And anyway, the dogs, they were screaming and barking up a tree. Curly's riding around and around this tree a horseback. He's looking, and there's a squirrel up there. and anyway, Shauna, I think was that one girl's name, Shauna?
Right, the tall girl,
She said, Dad, are we going to hunt squirrels today or work cattle? Oh, he's funny.
Poor old Curly.
Curly's a good guy.
Good booger.
Good guy.
Good booger.
Go over in Ash Creek and hunt a little. You'll catch something over there.
We was down in Ash Creek, but we didn't go down very far.
Didn't catch nothing?
No.
Not even a cootamundee?
Chulo. You could catch a chulo in there, I bet.
I did. I had 7 up one tree. I couldn't get them dogs loose.
No, you can't break them
off. Just running and jumping and screaming, and one of them come down and bailed out over top of the dogs. And one dog seen it, made a great big circle around there, and come right back up the same tree. I finally had to shoot them all.
I bet that broke your heart.
Marvin Glenn told me, he said, I've been doing this for 50 years, and you cannot break your hounds off a chulo.
We'll make tree dogs out of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You run into them in that country?
Not down where I'm at, but when I lived up by Hillsboro, I caught several. And you know, when you, about dusk, when it's almost dark, and you walk to a tree and you see that tail hang down, it looks like a little lion.
Yeah?
I thought that I was petting dogs up. Telling good dogs. And I looked and I thought, that's a cootamundee.
Was there any ever show up on Mogollon Creek, Roland?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, was there?
Yeah. Just before I left up there, they showed up there, and they're up on top of 74.
Oh, really?
What about javelina? Y'all got a lot of javelina up here?
Mediocre. They're scattered.
Yeah. We got a bunch of them down there where I'm.
We used to never have them.
Yeah. No.
Clay Henderson was saying that you get a real cold winter and they'll die. Those javelina will kill them.
Yeah, they're supposed to. Well, he's over there around by Beaverhead country, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
Winston, huh?
Winston.
Yeah,
somewhere
down there, Dusty.
Down
below Winston there. Yep. How far, or not how far, but how long have you trailed a lion and still caught it? All day long, catch it that night, or?
Well, over the evening maybe, but that's not too often. Usually it ain't too bad of a deal when you catch one.
On the
old Jack Thompson started one And it went plumb to the West Fork of the Gila, and I don't know how long. But he started it way over on this side of the mountain somewhere.
Again, the trailing conditions, you know.
Yeah.
If they're good enough, you can keep it
we
going.
We trailed one in the burros about a week once. Finally caught him, but he never did go nowhere.
You were just trailing him around.
Yeah, following him female.
Yeah.
He was in
Finally
there with
caught
a female.
him,
yeah. Did you come across any kills or anything while you was in there, or nothing?
Nope.
He was just staying with the female.
Just following her around. I mean, they had to eat something somewhere.
Yeah. Huh.
About a week there, we trailed him every day.
Just stayed after him.
Go back every morning, put him back.
Shoot ya.
You know, different dogs. Because some of them
Hardly,
were getting pretty tired.
hardly any lion ever got caught without extra effort.
Ray had some dogs that was really cold dogs. Too cold. And
Rock,
slow.
rock by rock, yeah.
Pretty slow.
Well, Ray, all he wanted to do is watch them dogs.
Oh, he loved it.
Yeah.
He caught his share of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then some, I think.
How many days in a row could you get out of your dogs?
That all depends on how hard you trailed them.
Yeah.
How far and how hard?
Over here in this Malpie country, it doesn't take them long to get sore
Scratch
footed.
their feet off over there pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You get them legged up, you can go. But
Yeah, you better have them ready
yeah.
before you take the knock a hold of their feet.
Yeah. Get on a good.
Last line I trailed, I decided I'd quit hunting, was over here in Greenwood. It went so damn far that I was so tired and still tired from it. Me and Terrell and Jason.
Oh, yeah.
My God almighty. Had a pal. If I hadn't had him, we wouldn't went that far. That line was going to Silver City to do something.
What do you guys think about the future of lion hunting and hounds? And
Oh, they got so many
It'll all be
four-wheelers and
different.
so many people doing it now that I think it's on the downhill side.
I see 2 white vehicles come by the house now regular, loaded with dogs. I guess they're hunting in the burros. Bear hunting? Probably.
bear hunting.
Well, there's a California hunter called me. It's coming here hunting. I don't remember his name. And wanted me to write the game department a letter about there's too many lions here and they need to have more hunting on them and more license. No. He's in California and I'm here, but he knew more about it out there than I did here.
Yeah.
Well,
And I made lots of tracks.
There's two lions
Yeah.
a year in the year-round season.
And last year you get 4. You could get the 2 on your
Yep, that's
license
right.
and then call in and get 2 more tags. That's too many. And this year it's 2. You got 2 on your tag. So I bought one.
Wasn't there a quota, though? A quota?
Yeah, there's quotas in areas.
They know exactly how many females they can kill and how many males.
Yeah.
The game department knows this.
They know everything. They know exactly how
Right.
many there is.
And you can't tell
Yeah,
them
sure.
a darn thing.
And they're eating the bighorn sheep.
That
They got the money. The Sheep Foundation.
yeah, and they believe that there's way too many lions. And
We've got bighorn sheep right across here on our ranch since 1964. And the lions ain't killed them yet. And I never found but 2 of my hunting career that the lions killed over there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that about the Pellet Seals or any other place, but
Yeah.
over there I know.
Yeah, you know.
If they had been sheep eaters, they would have killed them all out.
Yeah.
What kills them over there is the eagles. Get them like this.
oh yeah,
Right there.
And the coyotes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, my ears are getting sore.
yeah. Well, I got mine too.
You listen to a lot of BS. Your ears ought to
I enjoy it.
Your ears ought to be sore with all them lies.
I keep thinking, what is it? Am I? Because sure enough, I'll go and I'll publish this, and somebody say, "Well, you should have asked them this." I'm like, "Well, I didn't think about it." That's why I sit here and try to think about.
You guys, I got one more thing. I always thought get a good barometer, and every morning mark down where it was at and see what the trailing conditions were that day. Do you think that air pressure has any?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe it. I think when you get up in the morning and you can look out across that valley and you see that smoke hanging down low from people's chimneys or whatever, and it's not just running up in the sky, I think those are really good days. I do.
That'd be interesting to prove it, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, take a
barometric.
document it. Yeah. I might do that before I die.
Get you one of them little toys that squeaks, got batteries.
Yeah.
And put them in a saddle somewhere,
Yeah.
in a tree, and see what happens. You ever done that?
No.
Check it out. Wayne did that out there. You probably was there. Where he put one up, wasn't you?
I wasn't with him. I didn't know.
What to bring?
Oh, really?
Well,
them lines that just walk around and round and round and look. I guess looking up that squeaker.
I'll be daggum.
Well, you've heard of those. You know, these guys now got these cameras.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they'll put those game cameras up, and it'll send the picture to your cell phone.
Yeah.
And so they put them up on those, where they got cell phone service.
Where the good path is, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of guys are starting there. A lot of guys. I think they made it illegal now in New Mexico, haven't they, to use
I don't
those?
know. I know where one is.
Yeah. He's done.
I don't blame him.
I found it. It's tied to a tree up there at the foot of haystack.
Oh, yeah.
They got it chained to this dead tree. It's going to fall over here pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh, there's cameras everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
If there's a big buck somewhere or a big elk, he's on camera, and
they know it.
they'll stay with it day and night till the hunter comes.
A friend of mine got a tag on the Kaibab to shoot a big mule deer buck on the north rim of the Grand Canyon. He went to a dirt tank there, and he said there was 11 game cameras on that tank.
There's no hunt to it
No.
anymore like that. That guy killed that big elk over here.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, everybody knew about
A
it.
10 by 10.
Yeah.
I seen it. I went over and looked at it.
So,
and the hunter came, flew in, pulled the trigger, and flew back.
Yeah.
do you believe that the cameras take away from the sportsmanship of lion hunting also?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, yes.
Yeah.
I got pictures of a lion scraping with my camera, a video.
I've seen that. You showed me that.
I did, didn't
The
I?
age-old question that Wiley Carroll used to ask everybody: to
Scrape.
use his front feet or his back feet?
Well, I'll tell you, they use their back feet, don't they? Yeah.
He rode everybody in the world asking that question before the game cameras.
Marvin Glenn had it when you could keep them in Arizona. He had a male and a female in a big old pen there. They caught them when they was little and raised them. And he told me, he said, that little Tom scrapes with his hind feet all the time. Yeah.
Well, them guys over there. And Dave said, well, that guy there's done lots of line hunting. And that one guy said, well, the line ain't nothing compared to this elk. I said, no, it's not nothing, but when you catch one, you earn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not with it. It never takes a second effort. It's about 16 efforts.